This is Chris with Marabella Commercial Finance. Hi, hey, welcome to Lease TV. Patrick, Berman, Cushman, and Wakefield. Now, Patrick, you're out of Orlando, correct? You're located in Orlando. What's that?
Tampa.
Okay, you're in Tampa,
Florida, but we do cover the Orlando market as well.
So and are most of your listings in Florida? Or are you kind of like I just interviewed Dina Marcello at Logic in Vegas, but she's doing a lot of listings in Vegas, but also outside as well as, I don't know, do you know Alan Fruitman? Tax 1031. Alan is in Colorado, and we've done a lot of Walgreens with Alan, and he's doing deals outside of Colorado. Is that the same for you, or are you trying to just kind of be in your footprint?
We're primarily focused in Florida and the Southeast U.S., although our company covers the entire nation and the globe, as a matter of fact. But our group specializes in Florida and the Southeast.
In Florida is a pretty hot market, right? You get a lot of people from New York, older people from New York that want to get out of the cold and are coming to Florida. Is that the same with the commercial real estate? Do you get a lot of New Yorkers buying your real estate?
We do get a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of people from California, because on a relative basis, the cap rates, the yields in Florida are much higher than in California. So we get a lot of out-of-state buyers. But the state of Florida itself, as you mentioned, is growing tremendously. Over 1,200 people per day are moving to the state. And of course, with those consumers, you have demand for drugstores and restaurants and cars and clothes, etc.
And there's no state tax, right? The landlord does not pay state tax. That's a big reason why a lot of people are paying or buying in Florida. Is that correct?
Another big positive, Florida, Texas, there's a select few states that have no income tax on the state level. It's a big incentive.
Most definitely. So let's talk about the Walgreens that, in fact, I most recently quoted this Walgreens for financing, and it's a beautiful property. I've got it pulled up here in Orlando. Tell me a little bit about the Walgreens property. What is the price? What is the cap rate, store sales? Some general information about this transaction. What would you pay a buy-side agent on the transaction? Go ahead, Patrick.
Certainly. Well, it's brand new construction. So the Walgreens opened up in Orlando last August. So it's been in operation for a little over 8 months. Okay. Sales are on trend to hit $9 million this year, which is very strong. Typically, it takes Walgreens 3 years to hit the $9 million mark. We are pricing it at $8.8 million, which is a 5.00% cap rate, and paying a 1% fee to a cooperating broker. It's an urban location, traffic lit, as you mentioned. You've got over 75,000 cars a day at the intersection, excellent access, frontage, visibility. It's a Class A property in every respect.
I like the landscaping. It looks really clean, really clean. And is there any kind of landlord obligations?
That's the beauty of it. There's no obligations whatsoever. And we just sold a similar property to a lady in California, and she'll be getting a check for equivalents of $1,000 a day for the next 15 years. So this is a very strong cash flowing asset with no landlord responsibilities or obligations.
Landlord responsibilities. And what's nice here is completely single tenant. So I don't know, is there any kind of REA or CAM agreements? I wouldn't think so because it is single tenant, or do you know?
No, it's a very simple deal in this Mets point of view. You have one parcel, one building, one piece of land, no REA. You're really buying one asset with one lease, one tenant. It's a very simple deal in many ways.
So another agent out there has the ability to make about $88,000 in commission if they bring you a buyer, right?
That's right.
1% of the $8 million.
Brokers, of course.
And I figured, you would need somebody that would come in with about 3.6 million down, and we could do like an interest-only loan. I would say in the 4.5 to 4 7/8 range, 5, 7, or 10-year fixed. And we could also do portfolio lending. We could do no prepayment lending, depending on what your client is looking for in this deal. As you know, I've financed over 80 Walgreens.
Yeah.
So I've had a good run with Walgreens, and we've done several of the CVS stores, Patrick. Probably as we talked, I think what would be great for this property is if you could bring in a 1031 buyer that would have to replace a nice substantial amount of debt. I think that would bode well. Would you agree with that?
Yes, it's a very good approach. Ideally, you have an exchange buyer. To keep the numbers simple, they have $8.8 million to exchange, of which $4.4 million is debt and $4.4 million is equity. And this would be an ideal property. It's investment grade, long-term lease, and therefore they can get a good cash yield on their investment, and they can defer their capital gains for at least 15 years.
And so, what's kind of the first step? Would you want this agent or buyer, if there's an agent involved, would you want an LOI? Is that kind of the first step, non-binding LOI? And then you would go back. That's kind of your first step. And do you have a complete package that you would email the buy side with the leases, exhibits, amendments, the phase 1, the Alta survey, all the different documents for them to do their due diligence and financing?
Yes, of course. We have a comprehensive offering memorandum. We have all the due diligence. The property has no environmental issues. It's clean. The title is clean. As I said before, a very simple deal, very straightforward deal. Great cash yield, great credit. In fact, you may know that Walgreens is recently a member of the Dow 30, replacing GE. So they're really, Walgreens is the gold standard.
Is that something new?
It's relatively new. And Walgreens really, in my mind, is the gold standard when it comes to net lease investments. All other net lease deals are compared to the yield and the return and the stability of a Walgreens. So when you're buying a Walgreens, you're buying credit, you're buying security, you're buying good intrinsic value as well.
What I like about Walgreens is the cleanliness of the building, and that they really know, they know how to do this right. Pharmacies, I think, it comes down to CVS and them now. Rite Aid, they're just not at the same caliber, although they're still doing deals. Walgreens is BBB rated, right, Patrick? They're investment grade credit still?
BBB rated investment grade credit.
Okay. And do we know their shareholders' equity for Walgreens? Do you know offhand the shareholders' equity?
In the billions of dollars. I'd have to look that up for you to get the exact number. But of course, Walgreens has been around for 118 years. They are rock solid, and the shareholder equity is in excess of, in the tens of billions with a B dollars.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I saw recently I think they were talking that they're going into a partnership with Kroger to deliver groceries. They are trying to go head to head with Amazon and get into the delivery. I don't know if that came to fruition. I'll have to look back, but a lot of things happening with Walgreens, CVS, and I can only say good things about the company. All my dealings with them have been excellent. I was actually a professional witness for Walgreens a couple of years ago on some tax appeal cases. They sent me to Des Moines, Iowa, and I testified for Walgreens. I don't know if you knew that, but
did not. Interesting.
That was a couple of years back, and then I was also involved in a case in New Jersey on tax appeal. Because it is triple net, Walgreens is paying the taxes. So the kind of the first step is get a LOI and then go through the process. Have you received any offers yet? Is there any offers on the table on this specific store?
Yes, we have received offers, have not accepted an offer yet, however. So we've received proposals, as you mentioned, the LOI format, which is non-binding. But if I may go back to your previous point about the Amazon connection or the quick delivery connection, that's a big advantage that Walgreens has. They have
Okay.
thousands of stores across the country, which means people can pick up their products, have Amazon or other online retailers deliver products right to your neighborhood Walgreens. So it's a great combination of having the internet connectivity and the convenience of a neighborhood Walgreens, probably located no more than 3 or 4 blocks from your home.
Now, correct me, Patrick, didn't Amazon just make a deal with and I don't know if you've seen this in the news. I think it was Kohl's, right? Where people can pick their things up at Kohl's.
That's right. It's actually a very smart plan because it's good for Kohl's because it drives consumer traffic to their stores. It's good for Amazon because the consumer is closer, the last mile delivery, as they call it. The Kohl's store is close, is nearby. So there's convenience, speed, low price. It has all the right ingredients for successful retail.
What interesting. That is interesting. A lot of things happening in retail. What is the remaining primary lease term on this property?
You have 14 and a half years remaining.
So there's
originally a 15-year lease, of only about 6-7 months have burned off at this point.
So you have a nice long-term lease. And did you say it's a double drive-through here? Here's the
drive-through lanes. That's right. It's a large piece of property as well, almost 80,000 square feet of land. I mentioned previously the intrinsic value to build this brand new is millions of dollars. Even as vacant, it's worth millions of dollars. With a great tenant like Walgreens, the long-term lease, of course, we think it's a fair price at $8.8 million.
Yeah, it's a beautiful property, no doubt about it. I love the property. And so I would love to get the loan on it. Any buyers that you have that want to explore financing, if they're out here in California, we have office in San Diego, Carlsbad, Beverly Hills, Costa Mesa, and I can sit down with them. We really are more relationship oriented. We want to understand what they're trying to achieve and then structure the most appropriate loan for them. So we can either meet them in one of our offices or online like this and kind of get an understanding of their priorities and then come up with several different options, financing options that may work for them. Let's shift gears a little bit here. So now you're going to be out at ICSC. So I know that you're going to be out at ICSC. You're going to have a party in Las Vegas coming up, and that's on Monday, May 20th at 6:30 in the evening, right? And the party is going to be at the Four Seasons Hotel in Las Vegas.
This year we changed the venue. Last year's event was at the Four Seasons, which was great. Okay. But this year, for a change of pace, we're going to be at the Wynn Hotel on the Strip.
Wow, that's nice.
That's a beautiful hotel, really best in class.
Now, you're going to have drinks, free drinks on the house?
Lots of drinks and appetizers and great music.
What kind of food are they going to have? You know, you go to ICSC and just all that walking, Patrick, you're just exhausted. And it's like you go to those parties and try to drink and re-energize at the parties. But what do you think, you know, with LinkedIn, do you think that, do you think ICSC isn't as important to you now with LinkedIn? It seems like LinkedIn is kind of almost taking over where ICSC was the main event. LinkedIn is kind of an online ICSC. Am I correct there?
Well, I'm a big fan of ICSC, and I always have been. I've been a member for almost a quarter century. But to your point, LinkedIn is great for general information. If you're trying to reach anyone from a plumber to an aircraft mechanic, they're out there on LinkedIn. But if you want retail, ICSC is still the #1 resource in my mind. It's the best, most comprehensive resource, over 70,000 members. So I'm a big fan. I support ICSC. In fact, I volunteer for ICSC.
Okay. You know, I was talking to my wife about this, or actually my tech, because we were talking about ICSC and LinkedIn, and the other idea we had is having an online convention. When they get the 5G, everybody would have virtual reality things on and go around in the convention. But I told my tech, you know, the thing with that is you still want to, it's the whole experience of the convention. Jumping on the plane like I fly Southwest, getting to your hotel. I go to the Encore, to the pool before the convention, having some drinks, meeting people, going back to your hotel, taking a shower, going out to dinner. It's really kind of it's like a work vacation in a way, and it does relieve stress before the show. Whereas if you did the virtual reality convention, you're not getting out of your office, you're staying in your office. I don't know if they could ever replace the experience of it. What do you think?
Well, that's a good point. I would say that one of the biggest values you get from ICSC is a personal interaction that you have. You know, I've met with the president of Walmart, the president of Walgreens, people I've never would be able to meet with if I stayed here in Tampa. So by going to the conventions, you meet many people face to face. It's very valuable, especially in today's high-tech world when everyone is texting and Instagram and whatever, Twitter. It seems very little interpersonal contact anymore. It's all done on computers or on the phone. So I really like the personal touch, the meet and greet, if you will.
Relationship. That's kind of why I wanted to put together Net Lease TV, is really to get to know you guys more on a personal basis. Yes, you've seen some of my banners, you maybe have heard about Chris, but you really don't know me, and it's important to know who you're dealing with in business, get a better feel for them, in my own personal opinion. And it's hard to get, you perceive someone or something differently until you either go there and you meet them. For example, I went to Washington, D.C., and I always thought it was bigger. You would see it on TV, but when I went there, it didn't seem as big. And when I went to Philadelphia, I saw the movie Rocky, and I thought, wow, Philadelphia. And I went to the Italian area. It's just one little street, so reality is really different than just perceiving something online. And that's why I agree with you. I think that old-fashioned meeting people in person makes a huge difference, and trying to build long-term relationships, right?
Well, I couldn't agree more. And Chris, for the record, your company is very well known, very well respected, and very reputable. And we're happy to work with you, of course, and we look forward to doing more deals together.
Yeah, most definitely. The main thing that my philosophy was, work hard. That's the main thing. Work hard, work smart, and do tasks that most people don't want to do, because really it's those little tasks that are going to make you successful. If you think you're going to cruise in business, you're not, right?
Right.
The most successful people, like Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes went down when he bought Hughes Airlines. He actually went to the baggage department and was picking bags up. Nobody knew it was Howard Hughes, but that's how he wanted to investigate if he wanted to buy that company, because it's those little details that really make you successful. And even Amazon, I saw, who's the owner of Amazon?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. They show him, and he had the same car. He was a billionaire driving a little car that he had bought when he had no money. And he says, I just like this car. And then when you went into his office, he had a desk that was an old desk. He says, we're trying to keep our overhead down. For us, it's the customer is the most important thing. And it's those little details, to be successful, you really got to get your hands dirty, and those little details are sometimes more important than the the champagne and fun, right? But
right.
A lot of people want all the glamour, and the glamour only goes so far.
Regarding Jeff Bezos, it's interesting because the beginnings of Amazon were very humble. I don't know if you know that, but he actually would take the orders via email. He'd receive an order to buy a book, and he would actually personally package the book, put the postage on it, and bring it to the post office. So the actual origins of Amazon, very humble beginnings, but he had a great vision, which of course now has become a reality. But it all started off, like you said earlier, hard work, dedication, doing the things people don't want to do. And then that makes the difference. That and your reputation are paramount. You have to be ethical, do what you say you're going to do, and do it on time, and do it well. And it's a very competitive world out there, but as long as you do the right thing and stay focused on the client, like you say, you'll be successful. There's no question.
I saw an interview, and I'm trying to remember his name. I was in Hong Kong, but I saw the interview. He's one of the largest owners of real estate, and that is his philosophy. He said the most important thing in business is cash flow.
Right.
Without cash flow, you're going to have problems, which is definitely true. He said, and then he said, doing tough tasks. He said that's one of the Buddhist philosophies, is doing tough things. And he says that was part of my success and why I was a billionaire and I own all this real estate in Hong Kong. So, you can learn from all these people. You can learn from Bezos. You can learn from these billionaires. They all have certain things that they're kind of doing the same.
Something I'd like to add, if I may, is that we are very blessed that we live in America, which is the greatest nation on God's green earth. The United States has unparalleled opportunity and freedom. So the fact that we woke up this morning in America gave us a big advantage, and we have the opportunity to become anything you want to be. And there are many people in this country who started off with nothing and who are now billionaires or who are certainly very successful. So you have the opportunity to become anything you want to be. The American dream is alive and well if you're prepared to work for it.
The main thing that is really important for the millennials is to get in the game. I think Warren Buffett, I read Warren Buffett's book. I think it was Warren Buffett. And he said the main thing you want to do first is buy a house, because the house will probably appreciate. And
Right.
The sad things with the millennials is they're not buying houses, they're renting. So they said that they're behind where baby boomers were at the same age they are, because they haven't bought real estate, and the college debt is really holding them back, which is a sad thing, and it's affecting their parents. But no doubt about it, when I was in China, the one thing that I learned that I never knew is I think most commercial buildings are on a ground lease. And at
Right.
some point, it's like a 99-year ground lease. I can't remember the exact amount of time, but the government could say, hey, we're not renewing your ground lease. So yes, their real estate's going up in that, but they're still not completely free like we are. That's the one thing in the United States we really have. We don't want to take advantage of that freedom and just kind of rest on our laurels. We'll become like the Roman Empire. That's how the Roman Empire fell, is that we just they lost their eye of the tiger, and we don't want to do the same thing that they did. So it's important that, I see a lot of, socialistic things, that really wasn't how America was built. The Ronald Reagan generation worked hard, and that's why our country was strong. Anyway, so now tell me some of the other deals that you've closed most recently. Do you have any other deals other than the Walgreens that you're selling that we could try to finance or buyers can buy? And then tell us how someone can reach you. What's the best way to reach you, Patrick?
Certainly. Well, the way to reach me is by email, is the easiest way, which is my name, patrick.berman@cushwake.com. And my direct phone number is 813-204-5363. And regarding current deals, we have a bunch of really good real estate we're marketing at the moment. One we're very excited about is Eddie V's, which is a Darden restaurant concept. It's a very upscale steakhouse located right across International Plaza Mall here in the West Shore Business District in Tampa. It's a beautiful property, 10,000 plus feet. Just signed an extension to do a 10-year lease. They're going to expand the premises and improve the property to the tune of $1 million+. So everything from $10 million deal down to your quick serve restaurants. We have a Burger King, a Wendy's, a Taco Bell. Recently sold a CVS. But also wanted to mention internet-resistant tenants such as Heartland Dental. This is a very popular tenant because dentistry is one of the few things you cannot do online. So you must go in person to the dentist, And therefore, Heartland Dental is a very attractive tenant because you're very secure in knowing that next year and 10 years from now, you'll still need to have a dentist and be there in person versus online.
Is Heartland, are they doing sell lease back? Or most of those deals build to suits? And how many stores are they building per year? What kind of general lease terms? How's their credit? Tell us a little bit more in detail about Heartland Dental, and where are they expanding?
Right, well, they're expanding where the population growth is happening. So the Southeast, the Southwest, they are a 750 unit strong chain. They're not investment grade credit, but they're a very strong regional credit. And their typical deal is going to be 10 years, double net. So landlord is responsible for roof and structure, but tenant pays tax, insurance, and common area maintenance. And we have one for sale in Zephyr Hills, famous for their spring water. That's roughly 20 miles north of downtown Tampa.
And how much is that one selling at? What's the average sales price?
The typical sales price for Heartland is going to be in the $2.5 to $2.8 million range, typically in a 6% cap rate range. And they do an extensive build out, typically a build to suit opportunity. So the landlord will provide them with a pad ready site with utilities, and the tenant will then build their structure. They'll also renovate buildings. The one in Zephyr Hills was formerly a bank branch, which is being fully renovated now into a Heartland Dental facility.
That sounds like definitely an interesting use. How's their credit? Do they have decent credit?
It's solid. It's, as I said, regional credit. So it's
more regional.
Their net worth is in the $1 billion plus range, and they're growing very rapidly. They carry very little debt, and they have a very strong profit margin. So they're doing very well.
How much square footage do they take?
It's not that much. It's usually 3,500 to 4,000 feet.
And it's a single tenant building, or?
Similar to the Walgreens we discussed, it's a one tenant, one parcel, one building, one lease.
Do they give rental increases, or is the rent flat?
Typically, rent will go up 10% every 5 years.
So they do have some bumps. But the landlord's on the hook for roof and structure.
Right, and that being said, typically the roof is going to be brand new with a 20-year warranty. The roof does not become an issue for at least 20 years. A prudent investor will set aside, let's say, 50 cents or so per foot per year as a reserve to eventually replace that roof. And the structure itself, we've seen very little expense with structures. It's concrete block wall. There's not much can happen to that structure over many years. We've seen, we just did a redevelopment of a Kmart. It was built in the 70s, and the concrete block walls were still in pristine condition. The rest of the property wasn't so great, but the walls, the perimeter was very strong and stable.
What's the cap rate range for one of these deals?
Heartland deals, be in the low 6% cap rate range. We've transacted on deals at the 6.15, 6.2. You will see upwards close to 6%, 6.00 in very strong markets such as Miami.
I was just going to try to see how much loan I could probably do on something like that. Let me just see here. We'd come in right around $1.7 million, 1.7. I'm thinking just on a first blush on 2.5. So we're looking at about 65, 68% loan to value on such an animal. Yeah, any of these I would love to look at for any of your buyers that need financing. So, hey, Patrick, I want to thank you for being on Net Lease TV, and I'm going to have you back because I think you got some great listings. This Walgreens is a beautiful property.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that we know each other, and I think you'll sell it really quickly. That's a jewel of a property. And then I'll probably see you out at ICSC. Thanks again for being on Net Lease TV. One other thing, we do have a Patreon account. If you or any of the listeners want to join, it's $3 a month. Okay. And the one thing with our Patreon account, we would mention you in these email feeds. We may design a little banner for you. That's kind of what goes along. If you sign up, it's I think $3 a month, and that's on my in my YouTube page. as well as on our Net Lease TV page on our website. You just click on it. You put in your, I think you have to put in your Visa, and it's $3. We just set it up. The other thing, I don't know if you ever heard of Patreon. It's kind of cool, really. I saw it on a show. These people are sailing around the world, and they actually funded this beautiful catamaran boat. It's called Vagabond. I don't know if you've Google it or YouTube it, Vagabond, and they actually raised enough money with Patreon to buy a beautiful catamaran, and they're going out around the whole world through this kind of crowdfunding mechanism. So I figured if they can do it, maybe I could do it for Net Lease.
Sure you can.
So anyway, that's it. Thank you for being on Net Lease TV. We want to have you back. And one other thing, definitely, if you're watching this video feed, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're going to get, as soon as we do these videos and we upload them to YouTube, you're going to get a notification via email. So if you need to contact me for financing, you can contact me at 760-479-0800, 760-479-0800. You can also schedule an appointment with me at one of our offices or online just by going to our website. At the very top, we have a Calendly. I don't know if you're familiar with Calendly, Patrick, but basically you can just click on my link at the top of my website, and then it'll bring you into a thing you fill out, and you can say, okay, I want to be at the Beverly Hills office. I want to be at the San Diego office, or I want to do an online go-to meeting. So it's kind of a neat thing. That way my clients are kind of in control of where they want to meet. But that's right at the top of our website. Just go to www.marabella.finance.com, and at the very top it'll say set up an appointment with Marabella. Just click on that, and then that menu will come down, or just call me, 760-479-0800, or you can always email me, nnn@marabellafinance.com. I try to be kind of old-fashioned and actually answer the phone. I don't know what your experience with calling today, Patrick. It's like, it's hard to get through to anybody. And sometimes, most of the people that we're dealing with are 40 to 80 years old. Some of them aren't really tech savvy. They just want to get through to somebody. And it's very frustrating when you try to make a call and you can't get somebody and you really need assistance. So anyway, well, thank you again, Patrick. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. And thank you for this interview, and we'll be in touch. And great interview. Thank you so much.
Chris, thank you very much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Chris, Marabella. This is Chris, Marabella. Hey, this is Chris with Marabella Commercial Finance.